Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm working on original art piece that was one of the Kickstarter rewards from Annabelle issue 1. Basically we just have, Annabelle, nice little pin up here. We got her, a couple dragons in the background, some mountains on the side, clouds in the sky, all the good stuff here. I had the layout already kind of roughed in, what I'm working on here, going in, tightening up all my pencils, all my layout. I have her hands going, a little bit of a kind of a cape or whatever you want to call it, cloak, I guess would be the right word here. Working on all these nice little textured rocky formations. When I'm working on pieces like this with different textures or different materials, I try to keep that in mind, where the rocky textures are going to be a little bit different than her cloak that I'm working on here. That's going to be a little bit more fluid. The lines are going to be a little bit more fluid. The detail is going to be more kind of straight lines, as I like to do, and have a little bit more shadow and things like that going into that piece. Now just kind of working on the torso, her ripped shirt from the end of issue 1, her jeans that got burned off and all that good stuff. And just keeping in mind again, jeans are a different material than even her cloak and even the rocky formations in the background. So I try to keep the variety there. I try to keep everything different and unique as it is in real life. Working on her jeans here, shorts, now shorts. They were full jeans, now they're shorts. And nice little buckles and all kinds of fun stuff for the jeans here. There's going to be lots of wrinkles with the flow of her legs and just the position that they're in. I'm working on her other hand here, where she's kind of manifesting some magic coming off the fingertips. Working on the cloak on the side there, making sure that's all good to go, giving a little bit of texture, all these fun things. Keeping in mind, like the backgrounds are going to have a little bit more shadows. Things in the back are going to have a little bit more shadows than things in the foreground, and that helps to keep separation here, where you want to be able to see her arms, you want to be able to see her hand here. So having that cloak back there is nice, because then I can just add in a lot of the shadows, textures, things like that, line weights that are going to help pull that arm away from the background, and just working in a lot of the shadows and stuff for the cloak there. A lot of this can be pretty quickly done when you get to a point where you really know what you want it to look like, how you want it to look. You end up drawing a lot of the same things, but you kind of get into your own style of how you draw materials. But I'm working on her shoulders, and nice little pendant that keeps everything together. Again, keeping in mind that as things bunch up, as fabric would bunch up, it's going to get darker where it bunches, and then as it gets less bunched up, it's going to be a little bit lighter and less shadows and less detail, things like that. Her hair is very flowy, as I like to say. It definitely is different line weights, and it's going to look different than everything else. So I try to keep that in mind when doing hair. Her hat, again, is going to look a little different. Nice little witch's hat there. And just going in, working on all this detail in the hat. Filling in all my blacks. Like I said in prior videos here, I really like when I'm doing pencils to try to fill in as much blacks as possible. I like a finished pencil look. I like all the pencils to be filled in as much as possible. This was actual piece that became a penciled original art piece, where when I do Kickstarters, I tend to leave it up to whoever backs that particular reward. Do they want pencils or do they want the pencils inked? And this backer wanted this penciled, so I tried to make sure that all the details were a little bit cleaner than normal, where if I was to ink this myself, it'd probably be a lot looser, because I know when I go in and ink, I'll end up adding more detail. I'll end up doing line weights a little bit more, things like that. So for final pencils, I tend to add a little bit more, spend a little bit more time on them. You know, going in here, just throwing in some nice bubbly clouds and making sure that everything kind of works together. And here I go working on the dragons here, the 3 dragons. Basically, I just kept them as silhouettes. You know, for something like this, you don't really need to, I mean, you can go in there and like really detail them out, but them being in the background, it's not really the focal point of this piece. It's more of kind of accent background pieces. So I like to keep that in mind when I'm working on artwork. You know, what's the focal point, what's backgrounds, what's foregrounds, making sure that there's space between these different objects in my artwork to keep it that way. Finishing up some rock details here. Again, filling in all the blacks, making sure that everything looks, you know, pretty polished, pretty final. Lots of blacks. You know, done correctly, filling in, having a lot of black can actually add a lot of mood to a piece. It can also be too much. So to me, there's always this balance of, you know, when do I black something out? When do I just maybe not give it a solid black, but just give it maybe more of a textured black? And I think we're about going to wrap this piece up here in a little bit. Going to finish up some clouds. You know, just doing a final check, putting in the signature, and I think we're going to call that the wrap for this piece. If you like this content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, and I will see you in the next video.